Greetings to everybody. Welcome. Can the team confirm you can hear me well?
Yes, Auntie.
Greetings to one and all our brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us. We are grateful for the continuous support from all of you in spite of all the time changes. Everybody is being very flexible. So thank you. Today we will continue with our journey through point 12, which is the godly region of the mind region. It is the region of purity, and it encompasses region of Prabhu. It is all about the Lord. So far, as our journey continues, we move from the consciousness of the heart region, which is known as Pinda consciousness, Pinda Pradesh, the consciousness of the Pinda Pradesh. So we move from that to the cosmic consciousness of the Brahmand, and then we move to the paracosmic consciousness. And then when we are actually moving into this region, godly region of the mind region, which are points 11 and 12, we actually start to bid farewell to consciousness also and move to no consciousness field. So the consciousness that was at the paracosmic and the cosmic, which was filled with power, that gets transformed to pure bliss when we are approaching the Sahasradala Kamal. And then it starts to nullify into nothingness as we move forward into 11 and 12. So this consciousness of point 1 and 2, where it gets refined, and the refinement start at point 6, the D1 consciousness. And then further at 10, the D2 consciousness gets refined, taking us forward. So in this journey, whether it is bhakti, devotion, or whether it is surrender, whether it is mastering the mind, everything is just steps to go forward. They are not the ultimate. The ultimate is going towards that nothingness. Even expansion of consciousness is just a step. And that is why we move towards no consciousness. You bid farewell to bhakti, you bid farewell to worship, you bid farewell to everything. But until then, up to this point 12, all these are necessities. Bhakti, worship, humbleness, surrender, expanded consciousness. These are all supporting us. But at the final stages, when you are lying down, even the pillow is gone. That is how Babaji expresses it. So even that consciousness becomes no consciousness, where we are moving towards this negation or nothing. So these vibratory fields are so refined and pure. We need to arrive at these states of being, utilizing the help of the bhakti, surrender, and all this stuff. So let us explore and understand this region of Prabhu, the divine region of the 12th point, which is a very rare approach. As a conclusion of point 11, in each one of us, the significance of master and importance of prayer start to manifest. There is a constant craving for the Lord, and our identity becomes so refined. We truly understand the significance of the Guru and the true meaning of the prayer. Now our state of being is of total humility, and we are in an innocent state and in continuous state of surrender and prayer, which is true worship. And there is a constant craving for the Lord, in intense restlessness. You will experience peace, but there is intense restlessness. And that is why it is described as peace has departed and only craving for him exists. And we are in osmosis with the Lord. And this constant craving for the Lord, even though we are in that state of silence and peace, we are in a no peace zone. And here at this point, veil goes off and reality comes to vision, because we are close to the ocean now. And we arrive at the state of refined identicality, which marks our journey into the point 12. So conclusion of point 11 was beginning of this Prabhu condition. It started at 10. 10, 11, 12 are complete Prabhu state, which is the supermind of God. Here the ego tussle between I and he has exhausted. Only he. Consciousness dwells in the Lord. The Lord becomes the doer and you just are a witness. And the disciple at this state radiates the vibrations of the Lord wherever he goes, whatever he does. And for himself, the devotee does not have any peace or rest without him. There is a constant craving. Let us hear what our beloved Master has to say.
Now Babaji starts bringing in the element of the Master in spiritual training. Says such impulse is to be sought only from one of our own fellow beings of the higher caliber, who may be within our approach, ready to solve our difficulties at any time. The practice of seeking inspiration or guidance from gods and demigods, or from some departed soul treating it as guru or master, is in most cases very dangerous. After Q&A session night before, we had discussed about this, that the departed soul cannot train the way a living human being who can guide us as Guru saying. I had gone to the extent of saying, even the great master like Babuji Maharaj cannot transmit. A lot of people may have misunderstood my statement. It is not a disrespect to the great master. Exceptions do not make a rule. When Lalaji Maharaj departed, and yet the training of Babuji Maharaj went on, these are exceptions. If you noticed, if you have read his literature carefully, there is a Persian couplet, Mantu Sudam to Mansudi. It only means, I become you, you become me. I become soul, you become body. How many of us can say, me and him are same? If we fulfill this condition, then you can invite transmission from anyone. But since we lack this ability of being one with the Guru who is departed, we need a living being who can direct with his subtle bodies and look after us with his subtle bodies in actions.
So Revered Daji has very clearly explained that the subtle body of the living guide enters into the aspirants and provides the field for us to grow. That is the seed that grows in us. And then we become spiritual giants. Babaji Maharaj says, all is nothing, God is everything. This notion is essential. He uses the word essential in the long journey of a soul towards its highest point of attraction, the connection with the ultimate. Each step is important. Nothing is to be neglected. The true mystic is inspired and determined to move forward at any cost in the labyrinth of the spirit, where only surrender can allow one to truly progress. Because this labyrinth, this maze of the spirit that we go through, the lane is so narrow, we can only bow down and go through this maze, true surrender. Fears and doubts are recurring obstacles. All of us suffer from that. The entire journey for us is to let go of this fear and doubt and place our heart at His feet. It is not easy to eliminate them from a life comprised of so many difficulties on the material plane. The vibrations of the material plane is what affects our inner peace and creates these doubts and fears, because we are looking at the Master with a colored glass, with a veil. The greatest mystics have suffered and endured multiple trials that still today serve as examples for the unseasoned seeker faced with the baseness of life. That is why the Masters, when they come, they suffer so much to show us that the suffering is there for us also, but we are continuing on the journey. Faith and commitment help one build a strong mind, capable of creating a barrier to the multiple trials that life holds. When one is truly engaged in this spiritual path, it becomes easier to endure a karma that is impossible to circumvent. So when we truly get involved with the practice and our path, only then karma starts to leave hold of us. Otherwise, it is impossible to circumvent it. The laws here are incomparably rigorous. I mean, Babaji is clearly stating the divine laws are very strict. To cross each region, there is a law. We have to master ourselves in that area to cross that region. Hence the practice, hence the mastering of each chakra, to master each quality, to show that we are capable of journeying in the next point. So in some sense, when the Master tests us, it is not because he doesn't love us that he's testing. He tests us to see if our stamina has increased, if we will be able to survive in the next vibratory field. Love, surrender, and faith in the Master, who is invested with powers that he himself cannot really assess, are a very precious asset. So this power of Mahaparishad, what the Master can do, the Master doesn't even know. And it's invaluable, one might say. To each their faith, inner call, and determination to conquer this sacred space within. One that calls and attracts beautiful souls in search of absolute serenity, that serenity which protects one from all the baseness inherent in humankind. So we need this faith, and our heart needs to truly call, and we should have a determination to conquer this sacred space. So point 12 is the merging place of all states. Revered Babaji described chakra 12 as the merging chakra of all things acquired at the different states of merging and identicality. So this is what the sadhana is at point 1. To that extent, we practice, we try to journey through it, we merge with it, we become identical with it. And that identicality becomes one with the absolute. And at point 12, everything gets merged and finds this ultimate momentum to move forward. What is there at this exalted place? He says that it is the state of refined identicality known as Sayujyata, where the panorama is so pure that even simplicity appears to be 100 times heavier. There is a new form of existence. Our body itself is totally rejuvenated. Every cell of our being is transformed into purity. At this level, help can only reach if true ego is truly subdued. To reach chakra 12 is very rare. To go beyond is even rarer. So what are these states of union that bring us to this state of being? True meaning of yoga means method of attainment of union or connection with divine through the presence of the Guru. Once attained, it is a permanent relationship with divinity itself. And this union has several stages. Nearness, which is samipyata, sameness of form and illumination. It is not just the physical form, it's the inner illumination that is known as sarupyata. Salokyata, same world or plane of being or same vision. So you are in the same vibratory field and the same vision of the great master. Sayujyata, which is complete union in which both Guru and the disciple are reciprocally closely united. True identicality. And Revered Daji gave it steps for it. This is like Aqua AEIOU that he has given, is to arrive at these states of Samipyata, Sarupyata, Salokyata, and Sayujyata. So what is the challenge at chakra 12? There is a point superimposed on chakra 12 known as Brahmarandra. That is the great whole. True meaning is Brahma means beyond, right? That which expands. So Brahmarandra is almost superimposed on chakra 12. It is the point where the soul enters the physical body at the time of conception and where highly evolved souls leave the physical body at the moment of death. So when the journey reaches point 12, the soul's natural inclination is to leave through the Brahmarandra chakra. It is a natural pull. And that is where the expertise of the master is. He protects the being so you don't die to merge into the ultimate. While living itself, we can reach this central region. And that is all the work of the master. Guru's role at Brahmarandra. Guru of caliber helps the disciple to bypass Brahmarandra and continue onwards to the next stage of the journey known as the central region. And this transition is an amazing process, as there is a need to accumulate enough escape velocity to be propelled towards chakra 13 into the central region. So you need intense restlessness for the Lord to move into this 13th central region. Revered Babaji Maharaj says, the heart must be offered to the master beyond the intellectual barrier and must give him a free hand. So we have to let go of intellect. This absolute discriminative ability that we acquire bids farewell completely. And in total surrender, you let the master manage you. And that is why Babaji called it living dead. Thus are true bonds built, which are indestructible. That is why true disciples, they never ask master why, when, how. They obey. Our most fervent brothers and sisters understood that trying to control a destructive ego, because the moment you question the master, it is your ego that is questioning, no doubt. So, trying to control a destructive ego, they manage to analyze themselves with clarity, trying to perfect an attitude conducive to their evolution. Nothing is easy in this area, nor is it in any other one, because in spite of all knowing, we suffer. And there, only a prayerful heart completely, just like how Babaji is putting his hands, our hands should be in prayer and say, Lord, this is what I'm struggling. I do not know how to pass this. I do not know how to become humble. I do not know how to let go of this ego. Help me. That is the only thing that can touch the Guru's heart and move us forward. Faith and the total trust in the way and the master. Faith and total trust in the way and the master, remaining the essential aspects in this matter. So this area needs introspection. How does the Guru take you forward to the central region? Within a period of 2 to 3 days, the Guru takes the disciple through 64 points or chakras, rekindling devotion, craving, restlessness at each point. So we should all know when Master asks us to fast for 3 days, he's doing some work on us. The culminative restlessness amassed by journeying through all these 64 points in such a short period of time creates a potent force that propels him into the central region. So they create that intense velocity in the disciple to jump into the next region. Without this rocket-like propulsion given by the Guru, we would stay in the region of Prabhu forever. And this is what happened to Mother Meera. Somehow they reach that, they somehow cross that Sahasradala Kamal, but they are there forever until the great Mahaparishad Master comes and who is on the earth plane. And then they take forward. That is why it was Babuji Maharaj who took Mother Meera forward in his lifetime. The mind region, this is the supermind of God. No words can express the condition. The essence of heart region lies here. And the present form of the universe is due to the actions of the big mind. And that is why the masters who are in this region are the one who govern the universe. An idea of calmness remains. Forgetful state of calmness is dominating here. Our Anubhava Shakti, that is our ability to experience immense sensitiveness happens, and the capacity to experience develops when we enter this region. So sensitiveness is the significance of this region. It remains on one's part to feel. Invisible motion lies here. Air and ether do not exist here. This is the most powerful region of God, the powerhouse for setting the godly machinery. Babuji Maharaj says, expression fails to describe the region. The attitude of negation. We need to keep negating and keep pushing ahead on the path as whatever I receive is from my beloved. This is what Hindu sages call neti, 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 not this. So what should be my attitude? Revered Master says, I need to achieve more. I still need to change much more. I have to refine myself much more. At the same time, you think you are the biggest sinner. The moment you think you have made it, you have blown it. So in this state, there is a continuous state of repentance, because you do not want to disappoint your Lord. Even when you breathe, you are worried. So, गुनाहगारों को पूछा जो उसकी रहमत ने बहुत काफीफ हुए जो गुनाहगारों न थे. That means when his mercy reached the sinners, those who were not sinners were offended, affronted. So the entire practice requires Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. That is hearing, reflecting, meditating, hearing him in your heart, reflecting on him in your heart, and meditating on Him in your heart. So the goal of sadhana or practice is the attainment of this ultimate, integral, reciprocal, indissoluble union with the divine, to the extent of affirming mergence of the soul in the Guru, which is laya. This cannot be broken. The goal of laya in Brahman is achieved by three ways. The self is to be heard, self is to be reflected upon, self is to be meditated upon. This is the supreme dharma of yoga union. Only through ultimate devotion do we enter the ultimate reality. Absorbency in Brahman is the end of all activity, and surrender to is the first step to it. So, Guru is the ultimate transformer. He acts as a transformer, giving us the power of the ultimate in graduated doses. Bit by bit, he puts the seeds into our heart, into the Hrudaya Yoni, into the innermost sacred being of our heart. His essence is planted, and that is the union. And by giving us those graduated doses, he develops in us the capacity to receive higher and higher doses, until at the final level, we become capable of receiving infinity into ourselves without any limitations. This he calls the state of merger with the absolute. This is a dream for all of us, but at least we can dream. The air of the mind region, the air of this state can be felt by him and him alone, who has abandoned all airs and become a living dead. Divine effulgence vanishes, expression fails. We can only enter this state when we make ourselves as zero, make ourselves. We get the power from the first mind to reach the state of zero. This state is craved by angels. Mind region is crossed. This is the end of the mind region in a small gist. We have not even scratched the surface of the experience here. The nuances of the vast region can only be experienced. The experience is beyond ethereal force. This is the most powerful region of God. Motionless things appearing as invisible motion. Exciting vibrations are there having great power. Calmness is in a refined form. And when we make ourselves zero, we can enter the next state of nothingness in the central region. Revered Lalaji talks about successorship. This is what Revered Daji talked in his video also now. During my lifetime, my subtle body was present in everybody, which ensured their security and brought their spiritual progress. That is how we progress. The master implants his subtle body into us, which is the his consciousness, a part of his consciousness. And with that support, it is like giving money for investment. You want to start a business and your father invests $100,000 into that is your investment. And because of that investment, you're able to take off. And then from there you build. And that is what happens in spirituality. With my physical veiling, this is what Lalaji is saying, when he left, the subtle bodies also went with me. And our brethren became devoid of these blessings. When that period come to an end, and omnipotent nature boiled up to come to its own, a personality revered Babuji again came into being, whose subtle body is now present in them, and security is ensured in every way. As such, there is always a need for the controlling agency of the master. This is the need of successor representative. And this is what the most important thing, why we need a living guide, living guru. And this journey is all about meeting to melting to merger. When two individuals meet, when two minds meet, when two hearts meet, when the oceans of consciousness of two mingle, when these two merge into each other, there blooms godliness. There is utter joy and much more. Now the true journey begins. This we all long for. So there are 9 forms of devotion. Prahlada was a young boy. who was devoted. And in the Bhagavad Purana, the 9 forms of devotion by Prahlada includes Shravanam, that is listening about the Lord, Kirtanam, singing about the Lord, Smaranam, remembrance of the Lord, Padasevanam, serving the Lord, Archanam, worshipping the Lord, Vandanam, paying homage to the Lord, Dasyam, servitude to the Lord, Sakyam, friend to the Lord, Atmanivedanam, complete surrender to the Lord. And all are required, not just one. And in the final state, this bhakti devotion culminates the being into a state of a childlike innocence with complete faith in him under all circumstances. According to revered Daji, what are the qualities of a life full of wisdom? A heart that seeks harmony, moderation in life, yearns to develop good qualities, shuns the bad qualities and the bad association at the physical, mental, and emotional level, because this satsang is very important. And a being who has effective and practical usage of all faculties, all senses need to be utilized properly. And a being who goes on living a life, avoiding all pitfalls. We take 10 sittings and the next morning we are again emotionally broke. So we have to master ourselves by thoroughly mastering the first point. We can't imagine, oh, I am feeling this there and I'm feeling that in the forehead and the top of the head. Start from the basics, mastering ourselves so we avoid pitfalls that may lead to the formation of samskaras. When we succumb to these samskaras, at the highest level, this is what happened to the great Rishi Vishwamitra, who has been shown to us as an example. It is not a judgment on the great sage. He probably passed this and is in emergence with the Lord. But it is for us to learn from him. And the wise is one who accepts and saves valuable time, let go of struggles wherever they may exist, and pave the way for furthering the quest of divine. So this intention, all sisters and brothers are developing correct thinking, right understanding, and an honest approach to life is the best wisdom. And Kabir Das Ji, who has traversed the path, talks about this in many ways. He says, mercy of my Guru. Sadguru soy daya kar dinha. It is the mercy of my true Guru that has made me to know the unknown. Because if Master didn't show us the path, we don't know it. I have learned from him how to walk without feet, to see without eyes, to hear without ears, to drink without mouth, to fly without wings. I have brought my love and my meditation into the land where there is no sun and moon, nor day and night. The state explained in the Upanishads. Without eating, I have tasted of the sweetness of nectar, and without water, I have quenched my thirst. Where there is the response of delight, there is fullness of joy. Before whom can that joy be uttered? The great sage Kabir says, the Guru is great beyond words, and great is the good fortune of the disciple. Thou and I are one. Nirguna age sarguna nakai. Before the unconditioned, the conditioned dances. Thou and I are one. This trumpet proclaims. The Guru comes and bows down before the disciple. This is the greatest of wonder. Because when our love calls the Master, he comes. Sore pain troubles me day and night, says Kabir Das Ji. This is the state at this 11 and 12. Nisdina salaya gav. A sore pain troubles me day and night, and I cannot sleep. I long for the meeting with my beloved, and my Father's house gives me pleasure no more. The gates of the sky are opened, the temple is revealed. I meet my Lord and leave at his feet the offering of my body, my mind, and my soul. My body and mind and soul are grieved, says Kabir Das Ji. Valam avo hamare gehre. My body, my mind, and my soul are grieved for the want of thee. O my beloved, come to my house. When people say, I am thy bride, I am ashamed, for I have not touched thy heart with my heart. Then what is this love of mine? I have no taste for food. I have no sleep. My heart is ever restless within doors and without. As water is to the thirsty, so is the lover to the bride. Who is there that will carry my news to my beloved? Kabir is restless. He is dying for sight of him. So this journey through the mind region, we already understood that we go through points of the heart region and the mind region and the central region. And we gave a clear chart of all we experience in the mind region. And all of you can go through this PowerPoint. I don't need to read this, where finally Prabhu regions of purity merging the chakra of Brahmarandra and the position and the refined identicality, ego being subdued and devotion and craving and restlessness being rekindled, creating a potent force that propels us into the central region. All this is given, so go through it for our understanding. All the circles of the regions, the 5 circles of the heart region, the 11 circles, ego circles of the mind region, and the 7 rings of splendor of the central region before we reach the center. And the Sahasradala Kamal at the top of the head. Point 11 is located at 2 fingers width distance from Sahasradala Kamal going behind, and at 4 fingers width distance from point 10. And point 12 is located at 4 fingers width distance from point 11. And point 12 is about ether, 4 fingers width from point 11 towards back. Color is red. It has similarities with point 2 and 7. And it's a refined identicality. And here we experience craving and restlessness, creating potent force that propels him into the central region. And point 12 depicted by Daji is that the other elements are missing. So do not get confused with this. Only fire and water elements remain at this chakra. Earth and air elements do not exist anymore. And all the elements are depicted in light colors because the effect of the element becomes lighter as we move into the higher. And if you look at from the other side, when the original creation happened, all these are gradually manifesting. And that is why in the beginning there was no earth or air element. So at 12 o'clock position, it's empty. 3 o'clock position is the fire. 6 o'clock position is empty. 9 o'clock position is water. And here movement is contraction and expansion. And even this ceases. Same anatomy as point 2, 7 and point 12. And moving from 12 to 13, you move from this to nothingness, point 13. So how do we master this week? Take time to meditate and observe point 12. You can directly meditate on point 12, or you can meditate on your heart with the intention that I am observing the point 12 in each location. So day 1, meditate, observe this point, center of the point. Day 2, even though it is a bracket, observe. It is an empty bracket. Observe and meditate on that empty bracket. at 12 o'clock position. Day 3, meditate at 3 o'clock position, the fire. Day 4, meditate at 6 o'clock position, which is the empty bracket, and observe. Day 5, meditate at 9 o'clock position. And day 6, come back to this empty bracket and observe. And now from this place, if we have completely mastered it by the grace of the master, the journey is to the next 13th point. We have completed 64 points like this. So this is the description of point 11 and 12. The entire mind region, starting with point 6, where A and B1 are there and D1 consciousness is there, where it refines into D2 consciousness at point 10, and at 13 it is the D3 consciousness. And here at point 12, presence and absence of elements are there. And conclusion for point 12, region of Prabhu is a state of refined identicality. Ego is truly subdued, and within a period of 2 to 3 days, the great master takes us through the 64 points or chakras. He rekindles devotion, craving, and restlessness, creating a potent force that propels us into the central region. For this, the great master, revered Lalaji Maharaj, we have to have utter gratitude for his allowing us to walk on this path. Every day, Master, thank you for allowing me to walk on this path. He said, hear the self, reflect on the self, meditate on the self. Babuji says, love, love evermore. My dear daughter, in a spiritual process, it is love that counts most. It compensates for many failures. It is like a flame constantly burning in a lantern used to light the way. Why does love compensate for failures? Because we have many shortcomings. But if we keep loving the master, praying to him, humbling ourselves, it's our love that makes him forgive our mistakes and help us to remove those mistakes. So it is love. How can one see clearly without this light? This special light makes it possible to advance without fear, the bumps on the way being henceforth visible and avoidable. We will never insist enough on this point. Love, love evermore. Every person is alone on his journey, and only he can measure and determine his own progress, with tolerance, surrender, and love as the key points in this matter. Your meditation is a special time. It must make you grow stronger and reassured on your capabilities to empty your mind sufficiently to devote yourself to the special communion which elevates your soul. Special communion. That is what meditation is. And it's fana leading to baka. Babuji Maharaj says, uniting with one's master in secrecy. This is the special communion. With the heart being presented as an offering is a very pure gesture. That is why we offer even our mistakes to master. Because at this time, my heart has those weaknesses, shortcomings. Lord, this is all I have at this moment. This I offer. At that level, the hearts of the masters are merged in divine splendor, thus being as only one. That is why we shouldn't have the confusion. Oh, I started in Lalaji's time, I started in Babuji's time, I started in Chariji's time. What is my loyalty? All that. All the masters are one. Only through the living master do you merge in the united hearts of the master. And that Babuji is clearly stating here. Uniting with one's master in secrecy, with the heart being presented as an offering, is a very pure gesture. At that level, the hearts of the masters are merged in divine splendor, thus being as only one. The human being must seek to transcend his own nature by offering himself to this force holding the sacred powers. Who is holding the sacred powers? The living master. The quest is long. While advancing, the way widens. Perseverance. and its associated order bears necessarily its fruit. Love needs to be accompanied by a true gratitude of high quality. Such is the fervent disciple who sees only the true dimension of his divine guide. Fana is mergence, and Baka is that fine stream of permanency in mergence. So we move from Fana to Baka. So this concludes the journey of point 12. And thank you all for joining. We will send the recording and the PowerPoint for everybody to self-study. It is only Swadhyaya, the self-study, that will give us the true depth of understanding in our heart of what the journey is. Sometimes we don't even know what to long for, and the Swadhyaya helps us and gives us a clear understanding that it is the living master and living master alone. So thank you all for joining.